is real good. And some of it is, others is real good. Alex, what else? A couple quick things before we get to, I want to get Andrew on for a couple minutes.
Yep. So a little bit of sad news. As I Lay Dying singer Tim Lambesis, am I saying that right? Lambesis? I don't know. But there was a bonfire accident, and he has been covered in burns over 25% of his body. This is the same guy who served some time for trying to hire a hitman a couple years ago. That was a little weird. But he's okay. He's in the hospital. He posted a photo to his Instagram of him giving the thumbs up, but he is pretty badly burned.
Okay. Get well to him.
And last thing, so Andrew Watt, who is the guy who produced Ozzy Osbourne's last album and has produced a ton of other pop things in the last couple of years, including recently Miley Cyrus's new album, Plastic Hearts, was talking to Guitar World and has said that they have already started working on the next Ozzy Osbourne solo album. He said, quote, "We're about halfway through it, but it's been a hard year with COVID and everything to keep Ozzy safe. We all test every day before we work, and it's just me, Ozzy, and my engineer, so it's taken a little bit longer this time." He goes on to say that it's going to have a lot of the same people who performed on the last record. The last record was pretty much all Andrew Watt, Duff McKagan, and Chad Smith, and then Ozzy's vocals. All of them are set to return, but there are also going to be some additions. Robert Trujillo from Metallica is going to do some stuff, and Taylor Hawkins is drumming on half of the album.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the case, it's going to be the second record in a row made without Zakk Wylde playing or writing on the record, which is kind of strange. But Ozzy's in love with this kid, clearly. Kid, because he's young. I mean, Andrew's always a kid to me because I knew him when he was a kid. He's like 30 years old, I think, now. But he's had a tremendous career in pop and in rock, and he had COVID. So, he knows what it's like. And I know Andrew, when I met Andrew, he was like in his early mid-20s. He was doing a band with Glenn Hughes and with Jason Bonham called California Breed. They did one record that was really good. And he was the guitar player in that band. And I ran into him a couple times, and I've hit him a couple times up, said hello or whatever. And sometimes he gets back to me, sometimes he doesn't. I don't know if he's gone a little Hollywood or what, but I knew him when he was starting out, and was very supportive of his career. And I've offered for him to come on the show, but I'm not sure. Maybe one day we'll get to talk to him and see if he wants to do it, because his career and his career story is pretty good. It's pretty amazing what he's been able to do, and he's a talented guy. So yes, he was very involved in Ozzy's last record and a bunch of other records, and he's clearly steering the Ozzy ship right now, which doesn't, the last record, they had this all-star musician deal, and it sounds like they're going to do that again for this record. But again, Zakk is still in the band for live stuff, but that's 2 records in a row if they make another one that Zakk had nothing to do with. I mean, Zakk is super loyal to Ozzy and just rolls with whatever he's dealt, but I can't imagine you feel great about that, no matter who you are, or how thankful you are for a gig. But, Zack's doing well with his BLS stuff, so I guess that's how he views it. All right. We'll see what happens with that. All right, thanks, Alex. We got to take a break. Tight show today, a lot going on. Let's get the time, and I'm sure give you the attention and take a moment with you when you go back to see him. So send him my best, good buddy, and if you get a chance to go see the Creatures, as Trey is, be sure to do it, because John has to work all that in around all the Rob Zombie stuff and the other stuff he does, too, as a writer and involved in a lot of different things. Let's say hi to Lou, who's in California. Lou, what's going on?
Hi, I just want to ask, do you think that rock covers of pop songs can be better than the original? The best example that I know of would be Alien Anafarm's version of Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson.
Well, I think, Lou, that, and thanks for calling, I think that if you're a rock fan and you hear a rocked up cover of a pop song, you're going to naturally think that that's the better version because you're a rock fan. And if you're more into pop music, you're probably going to think the rock version is an abomination. So it's just, I think it's relative. I think that us as rock fans, speaking for me and my audience that would listen to this show, being that it is proudly an all rock talk show, I think that, of course, we're going to gravitate more to the rock versions of those songs. And you're right, Alien Ant Farm's version of that Michael Jackson tune is a great one. There was also, didn't Limp Bizkit did a Wham song, I think. Forget, was it Careless Whisper or something?
No, it was Seether. Seether covered Careless Whisper.
But Limp Bizkit did Faith, George Michael Faith. So there's been a lot of instances of that happening, like heavy rock bands doing covers of pop tunes. There's a bunch of bands that have done. There's like off the top of my head 2 or 3 versions of Duran Duran's "Come Undone" done by heavy rock bands, done really well too. So it's happened a lot, and if you're a fan, it just stands to reason. If you're a fan of rock and hard rock, you're going to like that version better than the pop version, more than likely, if you're not a pop fan. So I just see it that way. I don't think that there's a blanket answer to that. It's just a question of your perspective, really. But it's been something that's been done a lot of times, and it's always interesting to hear what people do. I always thought it was funny that, off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember. I don't know if Hailstorm did it. I know Adrenaline Mob did "Come Undone." There's 3 people that have covered Duran Duran's "Come Undone," which in heavy rock, which in and of itself is a great song, the original version. But it wasn't a huge Duran Duran hit. It kind of came a little after their heyday. So I always found that interesting too, that was the song that a lot of heavy rock bands sort of gravitated to play. All right, let's get a break in right now, and liquor private broadcasts, I'm not sure, but I certainly hope to do some there soon. 1987 Whitesnake lineup change. Please share any stories or details that you have. Well, Brett, I'll give you a Reader's Digest version of it here, but I will tell you that if you want a lot of detail on this, if you purchase the reissue, the 30th anniversary of Whitesnake's 87, there's quite a bit written in the booklet by David Coverdale about what went on at that time. And I'm assuming what Brett is referring to is what is fairly well known among rock fans, and that is that the lineup that made the 1987 Whitesnake album was Still the Night, Is This Love, Here I Go Again, all of that stuff, Crying in the Rain. The lineup that recorded it is completely different than the lineup that toured behind it and appeared in the videos. And except for, of course, David Coverdale. So the artists that actually recorded that album were John Sykes, who played all the guitars, except for apparently the solo on Here I Go Again, which is Adrian Vandenberg, Neil Murray on bass, and Ainsley Dunbar on drums. That's who recorded almost all of that 87 record that you hear and you heard in the videos and everything else. Then when the videos hit, the band that was assembled for the videos and the tour consisted of Adrian Vandenberg, Vivian Campbell, Rudy Sarzo, Tommy Aldridge. None of them played on any of those songs, except for the one solo done by Adrian. And the circumstances around it are very different depending upon who you ask. David Coverdale felt at that time he was having some issues with his vocal cords, and he felt that, from his view and according to what I read in this book, that he felt that Sykes was trying to take over the band and caused a mutiny and all this stuff. The counter to that is, that Sykes will tell you is that, Coverdale felt threatened by him. He had become very popular, good-looking guy, becoming a guitar hero and all of that. You got to remember, this is 32 years ago now, so all of these guys could have very well changed. But I can tell you there is still a great degree of animosity from John Sykes's end about how he was treated at that time, and the fact that most people do not even acknowledge in the mainstream that he is actually the guy that co-wrote and played on that record. To David's credit, he is onward and upward with everyone, and now is an older guy and is completely cool with everybody and would love to mend every bridge with everyone, including Sykes, although John has not been open to doing that. So that's all I can tell you. They have differing